Hello, my dear friends. I'm Michaela. Welcome to my astrology channel, Today Energy. This video is a general astrological forecast for 2023 for all of you born with ascendant and or sun and or moon in the sign of Aquarius. So dear Aquarius, let's check what 2023 has in store for you. Now, on a global scale, I believe this year will be rather dynamic because we have 3 outer, slower, generational moving planets changing signs, as well as the karmic lunar nodes, which happens every year and a half. So yeah, there will be some shifts in the society, but of course we're interested in whether those transits will immediately affect personally you. I will try to do as precise as possible general forecast as I can in this video. But it's also very important for you to know your natal chart. So you don't say that astrology doesn't work, because in this video you will hear me mentioning not only planets, signs, houses from perspective of Aquarius, but also specific degrees. That's rather important for slower moving transiting planets. So if you still don't know the positions of your personal planets, special angles, and other points of your chart, then go to astro.com, astroseek.com. I like this website very much, and build there your natal chart for free based on your place of birth, time of birth, date of birth, but the time is very important. For the sake of this video, I will share with you this chart. It's a chart of transiting planets somewhere at the beginning of 2023, but most importantly, the grid of the houses is built from the perspective of Aquarius person, whether rising sign, sun, or moon in Aquarius. Aquarius becomes first house for such individual. This chart is built according to the whole sign system. Indeed, for it, rising sign Aquarius makes Aquarius first house, then the next zodiac sign in order, in this case Pisces, becomes second house, next one third house, and so on. We have 12 signs and they become 12 houses, which are the areas of life we will discuss today. And this is the only way I can do such astrological forecast videos generally, because I don't know personally your degree of your sun, moon, or rising sign, but I will be mentioning the possibility. You won't see here any personal planets because this is a transit chart. I will point you with my mouse what I'm talking about, which planet, and what will the planet do, where it will move, which degrees, and how it will affect you, dear Aquarius. All right, I hope it's a bit more clear. So let's dive into the astrology of 2023. I just want to say that, yes, in general videos, I work with a whole sign system, but in my private consultations, I build your charts based on Placidus system, which is much more sensitive to your time of birth, and it becomes even more so individual, personal, and hence even more precise. But the whole sign system is amazing. It was the very first astrological house system used by ancient astrologers. Right, so we have an important event already on the 12th of January. After 2 months and a half of a retrograde motion, the planet Mars goes direct again in the sign of Gemini. That's good news for all of us, but I must warn us that the dates around the 12th of January, 2 days before, 2 days after, might be quite intense. We might be prone to enter into conflicts, be a bit more nervous, hectic, chaotic, futile efforts, and so on, because Mars is stationary. So it's not moving forward, not moving backwards, it's frozen on the sky. All the emphasis and intensity are coming towards and from Mars. So we have to be more careful around the 12th, but afterwards, several areas of your life will feel unstuck. They will again gain energy, speed, go forward, develop. And I'm talking about the areas of life ruled by Mars in your chart. You see, Mars rules Aries, and that's your 3rd house. So we're talking about more communication, more energy you will invest into studies, travels, dealing with your vehicle, meeting people, trading, doing online business or any sort of small business, marketing, advertisement campaign will be now much more energetic and revitalized. Then you see, Mars rules also Scorpio, and Scorpio is your 10th house. So, wow, all your career ambitions feel unfrozen now. You will actively pursue your professional growth and achievements. Maybe you will receive recognitions more proactively. You will be on a public stage, like performing or showing out your skills and gaining some popularity and hopefully positive image in front of the people. You can definitely achieve much more regarding your social status, whether it can be moving, changing details in your passport, like because of marriage or a divorce and so on, but things move on, that's good. And finally, we see that Mars makes this maneuver in the sign of Gemini, which is your 5th house. Mars is here for 7 months. That's important for not so slow planet, yet he spends here quite a lot of time since 2022, I believe it was, end of summer, since August 2022. And so for you, 5th house, of course, means inspiration, artistic endeavors, your own business, children in your life, love, pleasure, fun. So it's great to have Mars, the planet of passion, the proactive planet of achieving, of competing, of having it's a buoyant planet, right? So it's great to have it in this area of talents and self-expression, stage performances, sexual relationships, and so on. Wow, so much more passion and action here. Activities with kids, making kids, and so on will be all now again moving forward. Right, then the next important transit we have comes from the planet Saturn, your ruler. You see, for the last 3 years, Saturn was transiting your own sign, Aquarius. Well, that's a very important transit, because we see that Saturn was walking through your 1st house, of course, at some point, contacting by conjunction your natal sun, moon, or rising sign. All of this has slightly different nuances. Saturn has a 29-year cycle. And when he starts moving through the 1st house, it's like beginning a completely new cycle of maturation, of growing up, of responsibilities in your life. Starting, of course, with 1st house, usually it's your ego, your body, your health, your image, how you present yourself in front of others, how others see you and perceive you, how you feel in your skin, in your body, how you start things in life. So it's the beginning of all beginnings. And wow, Saturn is a serious planet. He's like the parent in astrology, like the boss. He's very career-oriented and very goal-oriented. And he's the planet of hard work. So all of this comes into your life, into your vision about your own future, into your self-presentation. People start see you as more mature, as more responsible. Maybe you establish your own business, or open your own company, or become a manager, part of the board of directors, a CEO. So suddenly you get so much more responsibilities on your shoulders, or you build a home, or you take a mortgage, or you become a parent, or you start taking care of elderly person. So yeah, Saturn is growth, but it's a slow growth. By sweating it, like working hard on it, not cutting corners, proving every day to yourself that you're worthy, that you are worthy of respect, that you're a respectable person. And now apparently status become very important for you, Aquarius, because oftentimes Aquarius are known as the black sheep, as a rebelling against the social norms, especially these old ones and the traditional ones. And suddenly you become much more traditional and an achiever, right? You want to have an important role in the society and for people to see you as a confident and competent person, whether professionally or maybe as a wise member of the local community, or as a parent. You have to have authority as a parent, right? So suddenly maybe you still want to be free and independent, that's within your nature, Aquarius, but you become so much more stubborn about your own vision, and you realize that freedom comes with great responsibility. Obviously, it's not just about being childish and rebellious for the sake of new experiences and going your way, like my way or the highway, right? So very important transit, and whatever you lay now as foundations, you will keep on developing it for the next 29 years. There will be middle stages. Every 7 years, Saturn will be reaching one of the 4 core parts of your natal chart: 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th house. Ascendant, IC, descendant, and MC lines. Very sensitive points, building the skeleton, right? The spine, the support of ourselves. And here Saturn is helping you to build your own inner core, the unshakable one, like the rock amidst stormy ocean. So circumstances might come and go, things might change, but you must stay strong and keep on your principles, keep on your vision. You see the goal, you achieve it, right? Like the Capricorn, like this mountain goat climbing towards the top. Of course, if Saturn was recently or will be till March the 3rd, 2023, still conjuncting your sun, then you might feel like less energetic, because Saturn is a planet of elder age, of cold, of shrinking, narrowing down. Oftentimes Saturn comes with fears, insecurities, doubts, self-doubts. It needs to prove himself to others, right? But it just teaches us discipline, self-discipline, and patience. And maintaining your goal, not giving up. Saturn doesn't like to give up. At the same time, Saturn is practical. Also, Saturn likes to streamline, no excess. So while Saturn touches your sun, you might be a bit like with less enthusiasm, but more practical ambitions, reassessing what you really can achieve, why you need this, do you really need this? You will turn to the more basic things in life. Maybe you'll have to save money, maybe you'll have to work more, and hence your time will become even more so precious, because Saturn is the planet of time and he doesn't like to waste it. Saturn is the planet of the karma. And the karma is not a punishment, it's not something bad. It's the cause and effect, is what we do and the consequences of what we do. Is we sow what we reap what we sow, right? So now you're sowing, now you're planting the seeds in the 1st house. Now you're doing some actions, you start something in your life, you initiate, maybe it's a relationship, a family, a work, education possibly. And further you will have to insist on it and put effort in it. And eventually you will gain this understanding that you deserve the respect of others because of what you have go through, what you have went through and endure. Saturn is endurance. Hopefully, don't get into despair, into loneliness, into isolation, because one can feel elder burdened with Saturn, especially on ascendant. You might start seeing gray hair. Take care of your bones and bone structure, hair, teeth in your body, joints. Try to make stretching exercises, because all of this can get stiffened by Saturn transit. Now, Saturn conjunct your moon, if you happen to have moon in Aquarius, that's a even more deep topic. In ancient astrology, it's called sadesati, and I can prove that it's truly working theory, because last year I had Saturn several times conjunct my moon because of his retrogradation. Sadesati is a period of 7.5 years, because it counts the sign previous to the sign of your moon, then the sign of your moon, and the sign after your moon. And when Saturn transits all these 3 signs, and mind you, he spends 2.5 years at least in each sign. So that's a long time. And of course, the strongest you feel the Saturn conjunction to your moon when it's precise, when it happens on your moon. And then you might feel the most despair, the most lonely, the most isolated, because the moon is our emotions. The moon rules Cancer naturally, and Saturn rules Capricornian, and these 2 signs are opposite each other. So they're like natural, sometimes we can say enemies, sometimes it's just about completely 2 opposite extremes of one single axis. At the end of the day, we have to learn to combine them. The moon can be a bit more childish, more needy. It needs protection, safety, security, comfort, pampering sometimes just nurturing. It's so important to feel safe and loved and belonging. Okay, let's face it, an Aquarius moon will not always be like super emotional or gentle, because Aquarius is an intellectual sign. So for Aquarian moon, it's much more important to breathe, to have space, to move, to feel free, to be understood by others intellectually, as friends, as like-minded people, as people with common vision. So be part of a community. Yeah, be accepted by people. And even if you are a bit more eccentric, or you like unconventional things, still you need your tribe, maybe more so than a blood-related family members who oftentimes would not support you or understand you. But here comes Saturn, and he makes you doubt about all of these freedom-loving aspirations of yours. Saturn makes you afraid that you're alone and no one understands you. Saturn can put down your self-esteem. That's more like with the sun, but basically it feels very cold and lonely with Saturn on moon. At the same time, with this transit, people might separate from parents, from family environment, and it might be because you just go abroad to study or to work. You might sell a house, or you might need to move in a family home, and quite frankly feel restricted and oppressed again by your parents, grandparents, by their rules, by their principles, which maybe you have different ones, but life circumstances, right? Saturn is like the material world around us, more so than psychology, I would say. Pluto is very much psychological in this regards, but Saturn makes your circumstances limiting, suffocating, I would say, even with a Aquarian moon. Maybe you have to take care of an elderly female person in your life, or you buy a property, you start building a property or repairing, and it's tough and you need to save money on this. So yes, Saturn is only the essentials. He's a ascetic. He's like the soldier in the barracks. You need only bread and potatoes and 1 pillow and 1 blanket and less heating because it's very expensive, and we have to endure and limit ourselves. But also Saturn teaches us to connect with our emotions and to become our own best friends and our own strongest support. And is that exactly in the first house, it's all about building your inner core of principles, of values, of self-respect, and not needing anyone else. I mean, it's nice to have support group and friends and community, but rely on yourself and be the wise master of other people. Like, maybe you really become a teacher or a boss, a manager, or a parent, and people will rely on you, as well as on the first place, you have to rely on yourself, right? And maybe be less needy, be less dramatic, be more practical, be more reasonable, be more patient and hardworking. And then trust me, the good results will come maybe in 7 years even, or 14 years. Right. So yeah, so we talked about the health and energy might be a bit low. Take good care of yourself. Don't push yourself too hard, because Saturn is a planet of career aspiration. So you might become a workaholic or over-responsible, over-critical. Don't fall for self-criticism or criticizing others. But you will be much more discerning and choosing wisely, because you don't want to waste precious time and create kind of bad deeds, bad karma. So right decisions are important here. Not to spend time on superficial or mediocre things or people or projects. But then on the 8th of March 2023, Saturn moves into Pisces, thus going into your second house. Now, I must mention that both first and second house are related to the body. First one is like the image. Second one is how we feed and nourish our bodies. And Saturn is a very narrowing, slimming energy. So you might lose weight. Hopefully it will be in a healthy manner, not because you're starving yourself, but you might start being interested in fasting, like through Christian holidays, or doing this ekadashi, cleansing days, something like that. More ascetic you can become with second house overall regarding food, but also possessions and spendings, because second house is our resources. Saturn can cut you off from some resources, that's true, but at the same time, Saturn is something regular and stable, maybe small, short, not lavish, not luxurious in any means, but so you might have a work which is not very exciting and a little bit tiring possibly, but it's giving you stable income. You might become more ambitious about doing something in an organized manner. Let's say no more working in the evening, during the night, but put yourself some regulation regime. So you work, let's say, from 8 to 3 if you're a freelancer, and then you definitely have a lunch, and then from 4 to 6, something like that. You need to have a structure of your working time, of your office, of your working tools. And Saturn might awaken your ambitions, right? So no more just like freelancing, hectically, sporadically, whenever you have time, munching or something like that. No, a regime to take care of your body and work, and have some ambitions. Maybe until now you were okay just with performing your work for many years, the same role, position, and salary, but now you will say, hey, I'm already skilled enough in this. I can be a mentor, tutor, a manager, right? I can already lead a team. I have these qualities and I can prove it. I trust myself, because second house is your self-worth and self-esteem. And even though Saturn is a planet of fears and low self-esteem, so he can freeze you. Like you can be afraid to speak up, to express your opinion, to ask for a raise, or apply for higher position. But at the same time, if you work hard, if you repeat and repeat and repeat and train and rehearse and exercise, and then you can do it with your closed eyes, right? You become such a mentor, such an expert, master. Saturn is the planet of mastering something. And here you can become a master at your work. And you can truly, when you go to an interview, you will not pretend or lie or act. No, you will be serious and you will present the tangible CV and portfolio, maybe recommendation from someone. And talking about tangible, yes, Saturn is material planet. And look at that, in your second house for several years already, we have Neptune. Specifically in 2023, Neptune will cover from 22 to 27 degrees of Pisces. Okay, Neptune is happy in Pisces, so it's good to have him here in a positive sense because he can give you more imagination at work. Maybe you worked something more artistic, creative, something related to films, to photography, media, visual arts, medicine, pharmaceuticals, environmental protection. But also Neptune is very spiritual, so he does not care so much about budgeting, saving. He spends whenever he wants. He spends on charity, on friends, on other people's happiness, on your caprices. He doesn't know borders nor limitations. He's bottomless like the ocean, right? So money comes, money goes. Let it be, you know, kind of attitude, a bit more hippie in a sense. At the same time, really a lot of spendings he can bring here because you put this virtual reality goggles or pink rose glasses and you're like, oh, I just want this. Daydreaming more than working, poor discipline, right? So it's good to have this mixture here of strict organizing, self-discipline, Saturnian energy, like having a goal, walking to achieve it, having a routine and regime, being proud of your material performance and working for money. And if you produce something of quality, not quantity, but quality. Or if it's a service, if you're a consultant, clients will come to you when you see you as this serious master. And with Neptune here, still it's good to have faith, right? And to kind of still do charity. In second house, we talk about belongings and possessions. And with Neptune here, or generally with second house, people are prone to store things, collect things, and eventually it just clutters the space. So with Saturn, you might decide to clean, spring cleaning, decluttering, you know, for the next 3 years, because he will be here till February 2026. And Saturn was in Pisces last time in 1993 to 1996. So remember, what were you doing back then professionally, financially, as possessions? Maybe you were redecorating your home, making it a bit more austere, rigid, like serious, maybe more like medieval style, right? More with stone. Saturn rules rocks and stone, earth, black colors. But now we have Neptune here, right? 28 years ago, we didn't have Neptune here. So this is very, very important to compare the experience from the previous Saturn cycle here, the same way as previously when he was in Aquarius 28 years ago. If you remember what important things you were building in your life, now they come to fruition or completion, right? You achieved them now, and that's why now you start building next goal, because we move not in circles, we move in spiral, always upgrading, hopefully. Right, so yeah, work on your self-esteem, very importantly, on your self-expression, because second house is your voice as well. Maybe you're a singer, but so far you were just singing a couple of times, some videos in YouTube, or just, you know, like under the shower and among friends. But you have the talent, right? It's your resource, your voice. Second house is our resources. And now Saturn comes and he says, okay, you suddenly meet musical manager and producer, and he likes you, but he says, but now you have to come to the studio every day and sing for 3 hours, and then you have to go to vocal tutor and improve your capabilities, because you have the talent, but you have to work on it, elaborate on it, right? And it requires time, effort, discipline, and patience, and hard work. And then you can achieve some real results and popularity. Okay. Then we will talk a bit about what Uranus will do next year in 2023. He will move from 15 degrees of Taurus to 23 degrees of Taurus. This is an important transit because Taurus is your fourth house. Especially, you will feel Uranus if your IC, and hence the opposite point always is the MC, are between 15 to 23 degrees Taurus Scorpio. And of course, if your sun, moon, or rising sign are between these degrees of Aquarius, then Uranus will square them. Oof, now Uranus is your second lord, right? The traditional one is Saturn. The modern one after the times of French Revolution is Uranus. And Uranus is the more rebellious, unconventional one, but still it's also very, very stubborn. Uranus is like my way or the highway. Uranus can rebel just because either he is bored or because he feels that someone is pushing him and oppressing him, and it might be the case or might not be the case, but it depends on your age really. But if you're very young and now Uranus crosses your IC, you might decide to move out of home. You're tired of your parents. But with Saturn in your first house, you understand again about the freedom and responsibility, because if you want to live alone, you have to work, you have to pay rent, you have to still meet some roommates or flatmates, and hopefully they are people from your tribe, right? Like-minded people, but also you have to respect their boundaries, they have to respect your boundaries. So wow, it's an interesting time really. Uranus does not let you be bored, for sure. And in the fourth house, some of you a bit older who on the contrary, you look for stability and safety in life, and fourth house is how we feel comfortable and cozy at home or within ourselves. It's our inner world, emotional world. And oh my God, with Uranus here, emotions are like a roller coaster, especially if also Uranus squares your moon. Then I highly recommend you to take magnesium for your nervous system, to go on the nature, ground yourself, meditate, do Tai Chi, do breathing practice, because you might feel very unease, like itchy constantly to do something, nervous. It might feel like a nervous excitement, right? Or it might be just like a nervous breakdown. Also, you might like higher places. Uranus is all about the sky, astrology, astronomy, the stars. So maybe you decorate your dormitory with this shining glued like stars and moon and so on, or planets. Maybe you make a little planetarium at home, or you buy a flat in a skyscraper on the highest floor, or you move to live in a city near a mountain, or you buy a hut on the top of some mountain, at least on the top of a hill. But yeah, with Uranus touching your IC-MC line, relocations are possible, earthquakes where you live are possible, sudden changes of your career, of your vocation, of your life direction overall, management, company breaks down or makes you redundant. But for you, it must feel liberating. Uranus brings the radical changes only when you're not on the right spot for you, only when you truly are neglected and oppressed by others. They don't respect your personality and your personal boundaries. Saturn in first house is very much about learning to build not only your foundations, not only your protective walls, like, my home is my castle. Maybe you feel insecure in your place of living. That's why you move out and you try to establish your own. And it will be like, you can build a family even with Uranus here, but it will be my home, my rules. Not my mother-in-law rules, not my grandma rules, my own, okay? And my husband's, of course, or wife, the spouse. So you might move very often because of different reasons, personal or outside reasons. You might change profession by looking at your truest vocation, truest mission, right? It must be very authentic for you, related to your aspirations and talents, not what other people expect from you. You might diversify your income by becoming a freelancer and working with different companies. Definitely freelancing is a thing, or work from home, or going to Bali to work remotely from there. Uranus is modern things, computer things, IT, virtual reality, nanotechnologies, science, online meetings. So maybe a remote work indeed, maybe a remote home, a remote consultancy profession, something like that. But at the same time, establishing your own business and reputation. Yeah, with Saturn in the first. It's hard to have a routine, but maybe you should try to organize it to be more effective, to earn money, right? Oh, Uranus will definitely take you out of the rut. He will help you separate from your parents, not maybe physically, but even more importantly, psychologically. It's the normal process we should all pass when we are like 18, 19, 21, right? When we are able to maintain, sustain ourselves alone, work, rent a apartment with other people, maybe study, start a career upgrade and achievements, and climbing the career ladder. But basically being a separated individual, integral adult person, not depending on parents, not blaming parents, not emotionally being too close and attached to parents, worrying about them, just seeing your parents as normal human beings, as adult people with whom you can even become friends. Maybe it means forgiving your parents through doing constellations and psychological work, or talking to an astrologer or tarologist, seeing the reason for some things from your past, from your childhood, and just like once and for all, just, forgive it, let it go, be free from them, from family conditionings, past traditions, and so on, which no longer serve you, which are outdated. Maybe you would like to maintain some of them. Maybe you suddenly discover that you have some certain relation to countries, to nations, maybe that you have Jewish ancestors and you start being interested in their rites and language, Hebrew language and traditions, and so on, right? Or maybe you escape from some very dangerous or oppressive home situations. But it's about separation emotionally, about gaining this emotional maturity. And if Uranus will be squaring your sun, here I would really advise not being impulsive, don't rush, don't burn bridges. Yeah, go with the flow of changes, like riding the surf, right? On the waves. Because otherwise it can be stressful, but you can make it fun and enjoy the liberation process and changes. But you might just feel that you have to change, you have to let go maybe of something old, but you don't want to, you're afraid. At the same time, people push you, you feel oppressed, restricted. So yeah, it's definitely an uncomfortable feeling, but try not to explode and just be too harsh with yourself and others, be too shocking and sharp with them. Maybe, on the other hand, you have to learn to be as more mature person, to make compromises, right? Because sometimes when we have especially young kids and they throw tantrums, you have to keep your cool. You cannot just act as them and they get offended with you and you start holding grudges with your toddlers, right? It's impossible. So maybe you have to learn to be more understanding with yourself, with family members, and with your partners. If Uranus is squaring your ascendant descendant line, there might be breakups, divorces, separation, or just like online remote relationships, long distance relationship, because Uranus wants to give you space to maybe then introduce more excitement in your relationships. Maybe you will meet more independently thinking people who belong to the young generation or who are feminist or rebellious or fighters for social human rights, or IT specialists, right, who will intrigue you with something new. And overall, maybe, yeah, your concept of relating to people will change. Your needs in the relationships will change. And either you will be with someone who truly is your friend and you walk in same direction because you have same vision, or you just separate because some of you don't respect the personal space of the other and the individuality of the other. Take it as a more like adventurous time, okay? Then we have another super important transit. Now it's truly a historical one, because for the first time since its discovery in 1930, Pluto will go into Aquarius. For the last 15 years, Pluto was transiting Capricorn. It's a very slow planet, and in 2023, he will just manage to reach 0 degree and 21 minutes of your sign. Then he will turn retrograde and go back this time to Capricorn to finish something in the last 3 degrees of Capricorn. But we will feel already on the 23rd of March, right? On the 23rd of March, Pluto moves into Aquarius till the summer, till June. So in this couple of months, we collectively will have this foretaste, this degustation, sneak peek of what does it mean later to have this Aquarian Pluto for the next 20 years. Till 2044. Now, I must warn you that only if you are very, very early Aquarian, like really first degree of your sign, not even second or third degree, then you will be hit by Pluto conjuncting your sun, moon, or rising sun. Also, if your IC-MC line happens to be at 0 degrees Taurus, Scorpio, then Pluto will be squaring your IC-MC line. You see this spine of your natal chart. The inner world, personal life, family and emotions and home, and career and your public role and reputation and status in the world. Yeah, when Pluto was squaring my IC-MC, I had it, all of it. Like I moved country, I changed job, I changed vocation and career. Sometimes I've seen also people, of course, marry or divorce, lose some family member, receive some inheritance, or get married, definitely having a child, establish own business. But first, there should be some power struggle. There might be power struggle with parent, with homeland, right? Maybe you are trying to change your passport, nationality, residency, and so on. There might be power struggles with authorities, with managers, bosses, directors, because this is how Pluto operates. Through very uncomfortable things, through very deep psychological dramas and issues, in order to make you stronger and more confident. Let's see first that Pluto was transiting your 12th house. Maybe still he's in your 12th. If your rising sun is at, let's say, 5 degrees Aquarius, then Pluto still goes through your 12th house, according to Placidus system, by the way. So this is a tough transit, I must tell you, right? 12th house is the house of endings, is the house of last cleansing, clearing, purging before you are reborn, like the butterfly from the cocoon. But this is the cocoon stage. This is kind of like the pregnancy stage, when you are isolated, quiet, in the dark, in some places of isolation. It's very spiritual, very psychological. Wow, so there are so many things you could do while Pluto is in your 12th. Because Pluto tends to transform your subconscious world, your memories, everything you hold in the darkest place of your subconsciousness, the things you most fear, the phobias, traumas, paranoias, insults, grudges, something you're ashamed of, some secrets that you were meant to keep by maybe like family members or by other people, things, let's say, related to harassment, persecution, and so on. It's very important while Pluto is in the 12th to undergo therapy, to have a psychologist. People oftentimes go to constellations to work with their family programs and ancestors, regressions to check what's going on with their past lives and how they still influence you in this lifetime subconsciously again. Pluto is the great destroyer, right? He's the digger. He likes to dig out the skeletons and the monsters. And even when you think that you hit the bottom, ask Pluto, because there is a joke. You hit the bottom and then you hear from below someone is knocking from under the bottom. So there are several bottoms, like the 9 circles of hell, right? So Pluto digs even deeper than you can imagine that he can go to. That's why it's so important to have some specialist with you, like a wise person, esoteric specialist, or guru, priest, psychologist, right? To help you go through this kind of the darkest hours before the dawn, the dark time of your soul. By the way, also Saturn on your moon, at least in my experience, I called it this way, the dark night of my soul. But Saturn on your moon happens every 29 years, while Pluto, not every single person on this earth will experience Pluto conjunct, square, or opposing Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, MC or IC. Really. Like, I don't know, like Gemini rising Sun or Moon, Pluto will never even reach them. But okay, let's say Gemini experienced him as opposition, right? But the strongest is conjunction. So yeah, clearing, cleansing, purging things from the past, letting go of toxic behavior, addictions, obsessions, memories. I mean, you cannot delete and erase the memories, right? But you can transform them and, transform the darkness, the fears, the vulnerability into your power. I truly believe that in our shadow lies the biggest treasure. But the more you fear your vulnerabilities and try to keep them a secret, the more vulnerable you are, and you are under the control of your own fears and secrets. You see the kind of the closed circle? So try to break it. Yeah, 12th house is about these reincarnations and the circle of different lives, but Pluto is here to break this connection with your past karma. You can really cleanse it, especially with Saturn also in your first house. So you can go to pilgrimages, to ashrams, monasteries, places where you can meditate. It's a time of self-analysis and introspection and understanding your soul better. You might become extremely sensitive and psychic, discover clairvoyant abilities, predictive abilities, feeling people, even too much, like being overwhelmed by others' emotions, and because you clearly can see their intentions and so on. My friends born with Pluto in the 12th house, they usually like witchcraft and magic and psychology as well. That's a great time to study psychology. And you see here, you would study, research, more like in isolation. And then when Pluto goes into your first house, there you go, the butterfly is born. So you become the professional, you become the psychologist, you start guiding clients. Or maybe you spend some time with shamans in Amazonian forest or somewhere else in the world. And then when Pluto comes to first house, it materializes, right? It's not anymore just spiritual, gaining knowledge and training, but already showing it to the world. Oh yeah, so 12th house, yeah, my friends are also doing these astral battles. and yeah, basically meeting some entities and so on. But that might be quite scary for some. But Pluto in the 12th is this inner fears. He is meant to break the chains truly of your inner fears. Even maybe you wanted all your life to do esoterics, but your family was against it. But now you're totally breaking out of these superstitions and whatnot. You see, the point of Pluto in the 12th is to purge and cleanse you, to make you stronger, really, from within. And then Pluto in the first house wants your full regeneration and transformation. You might heal fighting some disease. Of course, it might happen through surgery, because Pluto is the representation of surgeons. They need to open the patient, they need to see where is the problem and take it out with the roots. You might, when Pluto will be transiting your ascendant and in your first house, you might feel to people more Plutonian, right? Because remember, that's how people see us. And if with Saturn they saw you as a strict parent or boss, oh my God, with Pluto, you might seem to them quite pushy or manipulative, of course, in a worst case scenario. Also, you might seem truly powerful, like very magnetic, very attractive, very deep, very intense, very ambitious, very powerful. Like you don't mess around with Plutonian people. They're like the godfather. You might become super powerful, really, because now this is the goal of Pluto in the first house, for you to be independent, self-secure, confident, and rely on yourself, really. It doesn't mean that you have to stay alone, but you have to know yourself very well and know your boundaries, what you can allow, what you can't allow. Because with Pluto in the first, you might become more suspicious, more jealous, more obsessive, really. Paranoid, unfortunately. Pluto is this animal instinct of survival. And sometimes we might just feel, especially with Pluto conjunct your moon or your sun, that you're being chased, persecuted, that there are stalkers, or you might become stalker obsessed with someone. So try to avoid extremes. And it's going to be hard because Pluto is the black and white planet, the all or nothing, the extremes. But try to at least push it into the proper manifestation for you. Let's say you can become more obsessed with goals in your life, work, career, business. Pluto brings usually big resources, big finances. He's about banks, government, tax institutions, investments, credits, loans, mortgages, inheritances. It's about using others' resources for your own growth and benefit. You can become like the gray cardinal, or you can become quite popular and public person, because Pluto represents also large amounts of people, including large masses. So popularity can come, but you have to take care of your image. At the same time, you should not be afraid. You should not be constantly in a survival mode, because it's very tiring for the body. Pluto transit usually lasts for 2 years, that you would mostly feel Pluto on your natal point, or squaring or opposing, okay, not more than 2 years. But those 2 years can be pretty intense. And in this case, for your body, for your psychology, for your relationships, they might drastically change and transform. And you might be the one who provokes these shakeups. But it's needed. Maybe you were a slave to your fears, to your obsessions, to your desires, to your relationships, manipulations, control, power struggles, and so on. And it's time to break free from it. Empower yourself. That's really, really powerful, Pluto in the first house, or on your sun, or on your moon. But it's also important to have the right specialists around you. Pluto will eliminate all the cheating, lying, superficial people, passers-by. Yeah, only the real deal people, hardcore fans, will stay with you, the loyal ones, the true ones you can rely on and trust them. Regeneration of the body, plastic surgeries, tattoos, piercings, all sort of body transformation can happen here, as well as, of course, pregnancy and giving birth. That's the biggest body transformation, I believe, well, for women. Right. Great time for deep research, for being a psychologist, investigator, a tax controller, working in a bank, in a government, yeah, like something like express your power in a hopefully a positive way, and don't hold secrets. The naked truth is important here, even if it's something you would be ashamed of, but it's better than to be vulnerable. Pluto in the first will not allow you to be vulnerable and, you know, crybaby in a sense. It's a huge amount of encapsulated power. It might be not visible, you might be poker face. Also, you will be X-ray man. You will immediately feel your environment, people around you, their intentions, and so on. It's amazing. You can intimidate with people, I must say, dear Aquarius, because normally you are aloof a bit. Yeah, you're kind of friendly, but don't come too close. Don't overwhelm me with your dramas and emotions. Let's think about it. Yeah. And here, don't allow drama to overwhelm you yourself. Keep on being cool-headed and discerning, but also a huge gut feeling and sixth sense will be added here. And remember that you don't have to be constantly on survival mode, okay? Like, people don't meant to attack you or anything like that. Okay, so then what we have, then we have nicer things. We have the planet Jupiter till 17th of May. 2023, Jupiter travels through Aries, through your third house. Jupiter, of course, brings more, expands, brings you joy and growth through knowledge, through studies, through traveling, through having a vehicle, which might be bigger, more spacious, more luxurious. You might meet tons of people, going to a lot of social gatherings, workshops, seminars, courses, language exchange. You might start learning a language or some legal things. What else? Third house is our nearest environment, and it can change. You can go abroad, or you'll meet super interesting neighbors, better relationships with your siblings, cousins, family members. You might be proud of them. They might make you proud. Certainly insatiable interest in facts, in knowledge, gathering data, practicing your skills, being proud of your intellect, communication skills, knowledge, manual skills. Great for expanding your small business, online business, trading, anything related to new technologies and computer technologies, IT. Confidence, yeah, when you speak, when you think, when you communicate, when you share your knowledge. You might start teaching or open a vlog, right? Jupiter is popularity, third house is online. So yeah, that's pretty much Jupiter in the third house. And then on the 17th of May, Jupiter goes into Taurus. He will reach 15th degree of Taurus till the end of 2023. So again, we're talking about your fourth house, especially if ICMC falls here. Of course, Jupiter will be also squaring you from 0 to 15 degree Aquarius. Well, Jupiter might expand your place of living or make you travel, go abroad. Maybe the family will grow with more family members, more career possibilities. It might be working from home or move because of better job position, becoming renowned, becoming popular, an expert, shining on some conferences, being inspiration for others. Great time with family. Maybe truly you accepted them, forgave them, or established your own family, and now you're expecting your first or second child. You might earn more money if you deal with real estate business, or you might rent property, sell it successfully. Yeah, because third house is also about documents and deals. And of course, Jupiter squaring your sun, your moon. You can go a bit over the top, over optimistic, enthusiastic, but hey, that's a good stuff at the end of the day. Just try not to overpromise and underdeliver, right? Or be careful with huge expectations, just not to be later disappointed and experience kind of inflation. At the same time, Jupiter squaring your icy ascendant descendant line can be very beneficial for meeting larger than life people or foreigners or lawyers, like expanding your communication and your close environment, traveling with your partner, traveling with your family, having good time together. But again, mind you that partners might truly want to bring you joy and pleasure, and they are larger than life, but they might overestimate their own promises as well. Right. And then, yeah, it's important when Jupiter is in the fourth, remember that it's our emotional world. And Jupiter here, from within, from inside, despite all the harsher transits, you will keep the faith and optimism and this inner confidence that everything is going to be okay, that you have the support of your ancestors, family, your blood is strong, right? And you are strong, hence. Then the lunar nodes, the karmic nodes, the north node and the south node, they look like horseshoes. They're always opposite each other. That's how they travel. And they are most of the time retrograde, so they move in reversed zodiacal order. They spend 1 year and a half in each sign. I love to work with them while analyzing your natal charts, especially the sign and the house, very importantly, because they show your destiny in a sense, your life mission, what your soul has to experience in this life, what it comes with, like knowledge, baggage, comfort zone, but what we have to learn to let go at some point and go in the direction of the north node. It's what we have to learn, master, and then we will feel useful and fulfilled, like fulfill our destiny, if you wish. Of course, while transiting for 1 year and a half, society focuses on some particular topics. In this case, you will focus on this third house, ninth house axis from the 18th of July. Before it was, you see, the focus was home, family, inner world, personal relationships, the past, maybe finishing something or letting go something from perspective of career and status. But now we go into studies, knowledge, communication, and travels. And the north node is where you will grow, or through whom you will grow, through your local community. South node in ninth house will be maybe less possibilities, opportunities, or desire to go to distant lands, to philosophize, to have theories, to preach or teach, right? But it's like to go far, far away and to see the big picture, while you have to now focus on learning, studying, practicing your skills, on be more practical, pay attention to data, to details. Maybe you will work with data analysis. Maybe you will learn languages in order to later go to some international environment, to a different country. Maybe you will learn to produce something manually with your hands, some crafts, pottery, something like that. It's all about paying attention to your neighbors, your neighborhood, your local community, you still want to travel for sure, but maybe you will travel more, like maybe you come home after so many years being expat abroad and you start traveling around your city, your region, your country, even by car, by train, by bus, by motorbike, right? You reunite with your siblings or with your cousins. Yeah, you share with them your experience. So it's more like focus on smaller details, practicing skills, learning, studying, and your closest people, your daily routine, and maybe your colleagues, right? Maybe you're changing office and you meet new colleagues or they're new classmates. But the thing is that Rahu is kind of insatiable. Rahu and Ketu, the North Node and South Node in Vedic astrology and mythology, they used to be one demon. He tricked the gods, he stole the elixir of immortality, so he became indeed immortal, but the gods got angry and split this demon into two halves. So now he has no body, but he has this constantly hungry mouth, which wants to try this and that, has big expectations. It's a bit tricky, right? He's a bit tricky. He likes to cut corners, unlike Saturn. He wants to avoid karma and consequences. And the South Node is the tail of the dragon, so it's more about excreting, letting go of, finishing something. But yeah, Rahu in the third might make you move different neighborhoods, change often cars. Be careful with the desire to have big speed on the roads. It will be like constantly meeting people, chatting, chit-chatting around. Be careful of gossips. Yeah, you might be super active online, make several blogs, websites, then forget about some of them, right? So it's a bit inconsistent, and also it's about trial and error. So don't give up if you don't manage from the first time to take your driving license, buy a car, move the neighborhood, open a local bar, open a local language school or something. Yeah, because you can still use the knowledge of Ketu, what you come from as a knowledge. Maybe you studied in the university, you finish your degree, and now you start work in your local community to help them to make your own business. Why not, right? Third house is a self-made wealth, and usually it starts with some small business online nowadays, right? But try, you will meet the right people, maybe young people, maybe IT specialists, right? Rahu is everything exotic and new and young, fresh, and dragging you into the future. And wherever we have the nodes moving, the eclipses follow around as well, because the nodes are karmic nodes because they provoke karmic eclipses. I'll just briefly mention now the eclipses, so then I can move towards other planets as well. Don't worry, I will try in the course of the year, if all goes well, of course, as we say in my country, if we stay healthy and alive, I'll try to go and making separate videos about each event I describe here. So eclipses, 4 of them in 2023. We have a solar eclipse on the 20th of April at 29 degrees Aries, and that's most probably your third house. So there you go. So massive new beginning relating your local environment, siblings, people with whom you communicate, might be as well related to your home and family, and it squares Pluto in your first house. So new status for you, new appearance for you. Then we have a lunar eclipse on the 5th of May at 14 degrees Scorpio, and that's your 10th house. Lunar eclipses, we let go of something, we finish something, maybe we celebrate, we receive the acknowledgement, the awards, and we move on. So maybe something about, maybe you quit jobs or you go on maternity leave, but anyways, they're just this farewell party at your work or something like that. Then we have a solar eclipse at on the 14th of October at 21 degrees Libra. Now, solar eclipse is about new beginning, but it will be with the South Node. So starting something new, but with flavor of nostalgia, or first cleaning something. Again, it might be finishing a degree, ending long travel abroad, ending a relationship with a foreigner, something like that, ending a court case, because Mercury will be also here. So it's about maybe finally you take your residency abroad after 5 or 10 years living somewhere. Then we have a lunar eclipse on the 28th of October at 5 degrees Taurus, and that's your 4th house. So you see also wrapping up something at home relating to homeland, family members, property, maybe selling property or buying new place of living. Right. Let me mention a couple of words about our lovely Venus. She is not here on the chart, but you know, normally Venus is very fast. She travels through each sign in 1 month. But in 2023, she will stay in Leo 4 months, from 6th of June to the 10th of October. Wow, I mean, that's great news, especially if you have ascendant, sun or moon between 12 and 28 degrees of your sign, because then Venus will be 3 times opposing it. She will go retrograde here. That's why so long she will be in Leo. She will be retrograde from the 23rd of July till the 4th of September. Now, remember these dates. Let me just first generally describe you how lovely is Venus in a 7th house, which she rules in natural astrology because it's the house of the Libra generally. Of course, 7th house is about relating to others, and Venus brings harmony, peace, understanding, sometimes compromises, sometimes consensus. She's so sweet. You will be meeting very charming people. You will feel nice, comfortable with them. They will be beautiful and well, at the same time, maybe a bit needy, but maybe they would like some arts, maybe they will be artistic, very loving, lovable, lovely. So it's nice to have Venus in the 7th house for personal relationships, for dating, for marriages, for business as well, because Venus rules 2nd house and money and values, right? So there might be very valuable people in your life. Good friends, supporters, help you with your boosting your self-esteem. Maybe there will be beauty experts, coaches, mentors, stylists who will help you transform. So yeah, it's good for business deals as well. Venus might bring money, investors, clients who will bring you money for your services. Remember, Saturn in the 2nd will help you create something really of quality. But mind you, the retrograde motion of Venus, because exactly between 23rd of July and 4th of September, I would not recommend starting new things related to Venusian topics, and especially 7th house, starting a new relationship, officializing it, signing a paper for marriage or pre-matrimonial agreement or divorce even. You might want it to happen very fast, but when a planet moves retrograde, she's not 100% accurate, confident. It's more about like walking backwards, feeling insecure, unsure of what's going on, being confused. Venus is nice, you know, I doubt that you would meet some con artists or something like that, but maybe you will be the one with the pink colored glasses and just seeing what you want to see. Maybe people will be even more so prone to pleasing you, people pleasers, and afraid to say no. And once Venus then goes again direct, you will be, and they will be surprised that they actually don't want this compromise, that it was too much of a compromise, right? Venus retrograde is not good for expensive purchases, especially impulsive ones. It's good for researching, for comparing prices, for maybe going to interviews or interviewing other people, for arranging the details and waiting. Yeah, what does Libra do? The scales are weighting pro and cons. What I like, what I don't like. Am I sure about that? Maybe if not, I can consult someone, right? But not take decisions while Venus is retrograde in your 7th house. You might, when Venus in the 7th house, yeah, also don't do for the first time plastic surgery, for the first time some new style, new cosmetic procedure, because you just might not like the result. You will need to maybe repeat it. Maybe it won't have any effect, or you will be just displeased with the result and you'll have to again do it, right? Because re means do something again. Now, if you have done already such cosmetic procedure or plastic surgery, if already you didn't like it, then Venus retrograde might take you to the same specialist for some retouch, repair, right? You might buy actually something retro, vintage, secondhand. When something is repaired, in a sense, right? Recycled. Yeah, this is the word I was looking for. When you buy something recycled or antique, possibly as well. And yeah, when Venus is retrograde, definitely don't sign any contracts, because then you just might reassess them. Re-evaluation is the key word, because Venus is value. Remember the Taurus second house, value system. What's important for us, how we feel good, what do we need to feel happy in relationships, in business partnerships, what is fair, what is nice, who can make compromises. Maybe someone is tired of making compromises, you or your partner. Maybe while Venus is retrograde, you'll decide to separate because you don't want to anymore compromise, or you will reach to some agreement to try again, but in a more true manner, true to yourself, each of you, right? Remember Uranus here as well. So in any case, just every single astrological transit is good for something. It's just not auspicious and the best for something else. And forewarned, forearmed, as we say. Right, so yeah. Then we have Mercury, who will be retrograde 3 times in 2023. First time between 21st of April and 15th of May in Taurus. So reassessing some family matters, meetings with some old relatives that you haven't seen for some time, getting back home, checking documents, papers for buying, selling property, and so on. But mostly like, revise it, think about it. Then Mercury retrogrades from 23rd of August till the 15th of September in Virgo. And that's your 8th house. Reassessing your passive incomes, investments, resigning mortgage deals with the bank, apply again for a loan, for a scholarship, right? It means for second time, or redo something related to business and passive incomes, shared resources. You might meet some ex-lovers as well. And finally, Mercury retrogrades from 13th of December till the 1st of January 2024. He goes back from Capricorn into Sagittarius for a while. Well, internal work, psychological and physical healing, cleansing, purging, right? Finding some lost things, possibly, dealing with paperwork for immigration, and then also meeting some old friends, finishing group projects, coming back to some old life goal and dream and wish of yours, and receiving maybe some income from your salary, some gain, which was long way overdue for you. So you see, dear Aquarius, how interesting. When we look at the chart of yours, judging that your ascendant, descendant would be somewhere here on this line, and especially once Pluto goes into Aquarius, all these planets, the slow ones, important psychological planets and so on, they are passing through your lower hemisphere of your natal chart. This speaks about starting some new beginnings in your life and working internally on yourself, on your health, on your body, on your thinking processes, establishing your foundations, feeling secure, safe, dealing with your family or building your own home and family, children, work and financial security, right? So not so much about being outside in the society, even though it can be great for relationships. Remember, Venus helping from 7th house, Jupiter from the 4th, and squaring ascendant, descendant. But it's a lot of you personally deciding who you really are, what you really want from life, being honest and true and authentic to yourself, creating your own support system. Yeah, being like your own leader, your own boss. All right. And studies, remember, study, share your knowledge, maybe do your own business, very likely. So this is the general forecast for all of you Aquarius for 2023. You see, I try to make it as precise as possible. But here I must share with you that I do offer personal astrological consultations as well. Two types of them: natal chart analysis and yearly forecast. For the ones of you who have never visited an astrologer, never talked about your natal chart, I believe it's primary to do this one, natal chart analysis. And I call it analysis because I like to think that I am analyzing the language of the planets. You know, my original profession is of a translator and interpreter. So what I do, I interpret the language of the planets based on ancient knowledge, yeah, piled through millennials and centuries, forming this wonderful science called astrology. Now, the natal charts are mega important. Even if you have visited another specialist, another astrologer, sometimes you might want to hire another one, services, in order to see a different perspective. Natal chart, you know, is like a personal fingerprint. It's so unique, only and especially for you. Of course, if you know your precise hour and minute of birth. In the natal chart, we see, I call it the soul contract, which I imagine our souls like signing, okay, I'm going to be born as Michaela in this life, in Bulgaria, but as half Ukrainian. I'm going to suffer this and this. I'm going to learn through this and this experience. I'm going to have this and this power struggles in life. I'm going to want this, but be afraid to have it. I'm going to try and go through the same situations until I learn. Or someone tells me, like, helps me see the blind spot, right? Because we might think we know ourselves, and someone says, why do you need astrology? Are you not familiar with yourself? Well, we need a mirror to see ourselves. We need a relationship to understand how we are in a society. And yes, we need a psychologist, advisors, mentors, astrologers who can help us see all this 90% of the iceberg, which is below the water, right? The subconscious, because only the tip of the iceberg is the visible one, the conscious mind. So astrology, in my studies and opinion, is not fatalistic. I do not predict your whole life with illnesses, marriages, divorces, and whatnot, miscarriages. No, I believe that astrology shows our own character, formed due to some circumstances. It was meant to be in these circumstances. Each of us reacts differently, thrives differently. Of course, we're all unique, really. And astrology just can help you reach to yourself, tap onto your talents, what challenges you actually need to live, so you maybe seek them really, to go through them, to rise like stronger, higher, and so on. Preferences, predispositions, attraction to certain people as well can be explained by astrology. So yeah, I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. Your astrologer must be for you a confident person, like your psychologist, your lawyer. What you share with the astrologer does not leave your conference. In my case, the natal chart analysis goes through Skype. It's 2 hours live Skype conversation. I like Skype because I can share my screen in Skype with you and point you your natal chart while explaining you the things I see in it and my interpretation of them. And because Skype does not restrict your time and then leaves you a recording of the session. So in my consultations are usually 2 hours long. Then is the yearly forecast. I always do it for the next 12 years from the 12 months, not 12 years, 12 months from the moment of purchase, right? So you can do it any time of the year. Some people prefer to do it like for the next calendar year approaching. For me, it's even a bit more logical to make it from one birthday to the next birthday, because the birthdays are something super special. they mark a new energetical beginning, like a rebirth process for us. And more energy comes with a birthday rather than from 1st of January 23 till 1st of January 24, you know, like your personal year is much more important. There are special vibrations every year, different area of your natal chart with different planets and topics and configurations within your natal chart is triggered. It's amazing. I do my forecast written. I prepare 3 days because I use several astrological techniques for forecasting. I analyze, I calculate, I do interpretation, I put my guidance, advices, warnings, and then I deliver the 10 pages Word file via email or Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever you prefer. Again, this is all based on your current life situation. Astrology is not fortune telling. I will not guess where you are in life at certain point. I can judge, of course, by the transits and other techniques, but it's all about sharing and dialogue and you asking questions and so on. Of course, the 12 months predictions, forecasts are again based obviously on your natal chart. So timing of birth, very important. And yeah, people call it a report, actually, 10 pages report, because they like to print it, to underline it, with highlight it with different colors, keep it with them throughout the year, because I point their specific periods, dates. I do use a bit of astrological language, and then always I give, of course, interpretation and what does it mean. But so you can see that I'm not just sitting and I'm like, yeah, I think this person will have a tough time, yeah, from March till June, right? No, I see it because I see, let's say, the solar arc directed Neptune square the natal sun. But at the same time, let's say progressed Venus conjuncts natal sun, right? So it can be such a mixed bag, to be honest with you. And yeah, sometimes people just want astrologers to tell them black and white, like for sure, this and that, and they can just relax and do nothing. So all the responsibility is kind of taken out of their shoulders. Like, you know, should I stay with this boyfriend? It's up to you whether you want to or not. I will tell you, like, when the area of relationships will be activated, when there will be the moment of you deciding, or maybe him deciding, right? Maybe it will come not from you, but from the other person. And while this is active, maybe you'll meet another person immediately, or maybe not. Maybe Saturn will be there and you'll need time to build yourself, pull yourself together and build your own inner core. So it's very, very interesting and very personal, not fatalistic, but very wise. It's like a weather forecast, you know, like when the forecast man or woman tells you that it's gonna rain in June. So for one person, they love rain. They're spiritual souls. They go and dance under the rain. And then they can meet another spiritual soul going and dancing under the rain. And there you go, a couple is formed. For another person, the same rainy May or June means that they have to repair their ceiling, their roof, because they have a hole there. So they don't get flooded. And this is what the astrologer will give as advice. Don't go to dance under the rain. Repair your roof better, okay? You will meet your soulmate in another dancing lessons, probably. Or why are you sitting home? It's raining. Go dance under the rain. Something nice might happen, right? Something like this, if you know what I mean. So, my dear friends, I leave in the description below the video contacts of me if you want to have more questions or purchase some of my services. I leave my Facebook and Instagram accounts, so you can follow them. I leave my PayPal account in case you would like to support me, my work, this channel financially. If you find valuable my videos, my forecast interpretations, advices, and so on. Thank you so much for your support. Also via liking, sharing my videos, via subscribing to this channel. Also, YouTube offers this form of gratitude. You can push the button below the video in the shape of a heart. It has a little dollar, I believe, inside as well. You will see that it's about donations. You can donate, I believe, from something like €2 till I don't know how much. You can check. So, my dear, lovely, unique Aquarians, I wish you a marvelous 2023. May it be abundant, interesting, successful for you to find your true self, what you really want to do in life, and go to achieve it. No fear, no obstacles. Life is in your hands. Be brave, be courageous, explore the world, enjoy the adventure. I hope you will be surrounded by loving, loyal friends and people who really respect you, admire you, support you, and love you. And it's you do the same for them, right? So take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and I talk to you soon. Bye-bye.